My name is Lou Κάτσος. I was born in Greece, in the Taiatos Mountains, northwest of Sparta, in a village called Georgíτσι. I came to the United States with my parents in the 1950s, after the Hellenic Civil War. The first family member to come to the United States was my grandfather, and he came in 1897 with his siblings. He was here in 1897 to about 1912. At 1912, the Balkan Wars broke out, so he, like many other Hellenic Americans, there was about 40,000 at the time, who went back to Greece to be involved in the Balkan Wars. And in the case of my grandfather, he stayed in Greece, whereas his siblings stayed in the United States. So that's why I came basically with my father as an immigrant after the war. When we came to New York, obviously we owed money. We lived in an area that was not populated by Hellenic Americans. In fact, it was minority areas, and what used to be known as, in those periods of time, as ghettos, basically. My father, my parents, worked like every immigrant in doing all types of work. My mother would do piecemeal work at home. She would work in the factories. My father, the same thing, would work initially for others, and then he decided, quite frankly, to open up a hot dog stand in Lower Manhattan. So about age 8, I would be in Lower Manhattan. My father's push cart was by the Customs House, which was a great corner. And I would collect bottles during lunchtime. In between, I would work for my father. I would collect in about half an hour at age 8 about 300 bottles, which amounted to about $6. And my father then opened up my first bank account. And then throughout all my life until I went into college, I basically worked during the summers. It could have been one job, two jobs. When my father opened up a luncheonette, I worked with him on off days. And then when they opened up also a grocery store, I would work there. And then I would also work in a delicatessen. So my life has been one of working, and one that relates to the immigrant experience. From an early age, I read a lot, obviously participated in sports and all the rest of that, and also went to a specialized school, Brooklyn Tech High School in New York. After graduating high school, I went to the School of Engineering at New York University. Actually, when I graduated, one of the largest construction management companies in New York hired me. And then I went into the construction business on the consultancy side and on the construction management side. In terms of construction management, construction consulting, I rose up in that large organization to become a vice president. And then from there, I went to another very large construction manager. When I left, I started my own company, Jackmore Associates, where construction management consulting and development management firm to large developers. Currently in my own firm, Jackmore Associates, I'm involved in about 3 million square feet of different building types. I built about 4 or 5 buildings, not many people can say this, that are over 1 million square feet. The largest residential development building in New York, called The Sky. Currently, I'm doing the tallest building in Queens and Long Island. And the building types varied from hotels. I've built museums, I've built schools, I've built theological seminaries. About 4 years ago, I decided to found a new organization called EMBCA, the East Mediterranean Business Cultural Alliance. So the Hellenic people and Hellenism, to me, is about the whole East Mediterranean, where we've been for thousands of years. And I wanted an organization where we can have business lectures, as well as cultural lectures relating to the greater aspect of what we call Hellenism. And the East Mediterranean basically was our sea, We had poets, philosophers, mathematicians, all the rest of that, and I wanted it to be something that was a little bit different, a little bit unique. But I used the name Alliance at the end because also our vision is to support other organizations also. It's not only about us, it's also about other Hellenic organizations, but it's also about us in a greater context, us as Hellenic Americans within a community that relates to other cultures. The Hellenic DNA, what is the Hellenic DNA? The Hellenic DNA is something that aspires to the arista, not the secondary, but the arista. The arista in everything that we do, whether it's economic, whether it's educational, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's ethics, whether it's philosophy, the spirit of Hellenism, Hellenic DNA.